if people actually take the time and objectively look at what I'm saying, and I included the word objectively, because everybody will come at it from their own belief system. It's habitual, we can't help it. I do it, right? Because you could say that's your belief system, George. And I work very hard at making sure it's not an egoic belief system. I'm a realist and I'm objective, but I'm a defender of the truth. So there's times when I speak when my inner warrior comes out and I get very, very stern in my expression. It comes from passion, but I'm also defending humanity in that moment, because I'm speaking on so many levels of life. I'm not just talking to you here in this room. I hope you can understand that. Yeah, you understand that. Yes, thank you. Okay, there's a lot more going on this planet than people realise. What we are about to become, the magnitude of what we are about to become is so profound, because we're taking all of that universal existence and we are compressing it all into a single embodiment. When Mother Earth reaches the point of the 21st of March 2013, she's going to activate her planetary light body. And people go, well, what does that mean? What does it mean for us in our everyday lives? What does it mean for me? You know, I've got a job, I've got a car, house, family, career. What does it mean? What does ascension mean? What's this ascension thing everybody talks about? Well, let's look at the word ascension. It means to ascend, state of ascending. So what we're doing is we're taking a vibrational reality and we're raising the frequency. That's all that's happening here. And on a mechanical level, what does that mean? Well, it means that atoms will spin faster. It means the molecules will vibrate faster, because that's what determines dimensional realities, by the way, for those who don't understand that. Because when I've travelled from this reality and I've gone to other realities in spaceships and in other planetary systems, everything vibrates different. You just go into a ship and you're in there with ETs in their reality. That craft itself has its own vibrational pattern. My atoms spin differently, my molecules vibrate differently. And when I get put back, sometimes it took days to recover. I'd be in agony for days. So it's understanding that. When you go to another planetary system, it vibrates differently. Some planetary systems were comfortable, some were uncomfortable. Some were vibrating closer to the paradigm of Mother Earth, some were not. Mars I didn't like. It's a male warrior energy, that being, that's the consciousness of Mars. It's just there. It's still got life force in it, but there's not much there, but he's still there. He's just sort of like sleeping at the moment. But I didn't like his energy very much. But I've got to overcome that, because that means there's something about myself I don't like, you see. So this universe is a mirror. So whatever you don't like about me, you've got it inside of you. Yeah, and what I like about all of you is all the love inside of me. Yeah, thank you. And so, why is Mother Earth about to do this? Because at the very end of this process, the whole idea of becoming a universal creator, we're at the end of that very long process. And when she becomes a being of light, so do we. It's a symbiotic process. And so she's about to give birth to a whole new race of beings in the universe. And it's a whole planetary race of universal creators of love and light. I know it's a bit love and light thing, but it's true. It's true. We've learnt the construct. It's where I'm going. It's what I'm doing. You don't have to come where I'm going. Because later on, when I start talking about all the ETs and stuff, and I get down to the nitty-gritty and the down and dirty of what they want to do, if you resonate with them and you want to go on their ships with them, by all means, that's your soul journey. Okay? So please, everybody's got their own individual journey happening here, and I'm just sharing with you what I know, what I know life to be and where I'm headed. So you make your own choice for your own life and do what's right for you. I would like very much for you to come along. That's reality. Okay? I'm being as unconditional, loving as I can in this capacity as George right now. I very much would like for you to come where I'm going. I really would. But I also love you no less if you don't. Okay? So Mother Earth is about to ascend. She's about to give birth to this new race of life in the universe. A whole planetary race of universal consciousness. Beings that embody universal consciousness. We will not have an energetic centre of any kind. We will be pure expression of light. Just pure light. And you go, George, but that already exists in the universe. No, it doesn't. Not in this format. No way. Nowhere near it. There are beings that are posing as light beings. Wow. You just got to understand how far this goes. But nothing like this version. This is taking everything that you've done, everything that you've been, and compressing it into one embodiment. And that's not all. It doesn't stop there. Because then your consciousness will go and start creating its own universe through the construct of light. And off you go. And then that embodiment part of you will go back into this universe. Not back in, but, will go throughout this universe and continue to teach and show the way. So the story does not end. This ascension thing is not final destination. It's just the next phase in our journeys. It's just, we came into this universe and we wanted to learn how to be like this universe. That's all it is. So on one level, it's not that big a deal because we're already universes, aren't we? We're all hanging out together on a universal level and we're all inside one another, learning how to be like one another. And you know what God is, and so you don't have to do this, God business. Because none of us are into that on a universal level. Really. I mean, if you're inside of me and you're inside my universe, are you going to get on your knees and pray to me like a God? Are you? I hope not. Because I don't like that. We see everyone as equal. We're just having our journeys. We're experiencing life and we're having our journeys and we're enjoying ourselves. We're enjoying ourselves in life. Are there challenges in this universe? Oh yeah, because of its nature. It's division, light, polarization, frequency, vibration. It's in the nature of this universe to create that separated state of being. Right? So the challenges that we experience in this universe, okay, I will go as far as saying, as far as I'm aware, are the toughest going around. These other constructs, I can't comprehend them inside this universe. There's something else. And that's saying that does life exist beyond light? Of course it does. Because if you say light is all there is, right, then immediately you put a finite existence on life. Life is infinite. Okay, I've got some images there because there's a lot of people at the moment who are feeling Mother Earth. They really are. And there's just some wonderful expressions that are happening because, like I said, I'm not into goddess worship, but I honour, I acknowledge, and I respect the fact that I'm living on this being we call Mother Earth. I'm this wonderful woman who had the courage, and I'm going to get into some real hard nitty-gritties here, okay? I hope you don't mind. But I'm going to just get a little bit serious here for a moment because I need to. Not just for you in this room, please, okay? Can you understand this is not just for you in this room? But there's something I need to share with you that's very, very important. And that's understanding the male and the female energies and that being that we call Christ, and I'm not being religious here because I'm not into churchianity, but I understand Christianity. Okay? I understand Christianity. I understand what took place 2,000 years ago. Because in all the journeys that I've had, you begin to reawaken and understand what took place. And I want to share with you the sacrifice that that man made 2,000 years ago, because it's not what you think it is. Let me put it this way. We're told that he was beaten, right? He was beaten. That's what we're told. So what? I've been tortured in this life. This is where I got this understanding from. You know, when you're being tortured, you go through a lot of stuff within yourself. Like you go to places you never thought you'd go. I've been tortured by the shadow government, I've been tortured by the ruling elite, and I've been tortured by extraterrestrial races. So I know what I'm talking about. I know what happens to you when you're in that state. I suffered post-trauma throughout my life. So I know what I'm talking about. And psychologists and psychiatrists can say whatever they like, but they are programmed zombies. And only some psychologists and some psychiatrists are actually now understanding and beginning how much life exists beyond the mind. Because what is the mind? Let's get real here, okay? I said I'm a realist. What is the mind? The mind is the software package of the brain. Your brain is a biological computer. It's a biological transceiver. The mind is the interface for your higher consciousness to interface through your mind, through your ego, to this reality. That's all it is. But because this is the microcosm of the macrocosm, our mind is also a labyrinth, because all possibilities and outcomes are here. So therefore the human mind on planet Earth is also an infinite labyrinth. So that's why you've got to be very careful with what you choose to believe and where you choose to go in life and what you choose to think. I have been through this process on very deep levels, to the nth degree. Throughout my life, have people tried to tell me that I'm crazy. They just don't realise how programmed they are. They don't realise how their minds are contained within such a small paradigm of reality. Because what I'm sharing with you here is beyond the mind. It's into the essence and the core of your being, into your heart, into your true connection with life and the universe. So people can say whatever they like about me, but they have no concept of the magnitude of my experiences. And that's what frightens people out there about me. People in authority, positions of authority, right? They're very, very frightened of me because they know how much of a threat I am to their status quo. They really do know that. The sacrifice of that being made 2,000 years ago, there's a group who will say he never existed. Because who is he? Who was Buddha, by the way? I won't just focus on one incarnation of this one and the same consciousness. Do you get what I just said? In this life, I'm called George. In this life, Cynthia's called Cynthia. What was she called in a previous life? What were you called in a previous life? You had a different name, right? You grew up in a different culture. Same spirit, different name, different embodiment, different culture. So when you hear the term, was Jesus God walking this earth? Yes, he was. Absolutely he was. It was the creator of this universe walking this earth. Was he into worship? Nope. Not at all. Was Buddha into worship? Not at all. Was Krishna into worship? Not at all. One and the same being, one and the same consciousness. And all the other versions of these one and the same consciousness throughout history on this planet. Did Jesus only ever come once to this planet? Yes, he did, as Jesus. I've only been here once as George. So is that statement true? Yes. But you see how they play with it. They'll take a truth and they'll twist it. They'll put a slant on it. But has the essence of Jesus, the consciousness of Jesus ever been to this planet before? Absolutely, many times over. And he's been here since. He came as King Arthur. And people, you'll get told that's just a fable as well. And yes, the round table was at Stonehenge. And yes, it was a reunion of the 12 apostles. And who are the 12 apostles anyway? They're the 12 archetypal personalities of the Creator. Anyway, let's get back to the sacrifice, because this is so important. This is what people don't know. I'm giving you the truth, the hidden truth. This is underneath the Vatican here. They are frightened of people knowing this piece of information. What I'm about to share with you is so potent to know this piece of information. Jesus is the walking incarnation of the Son of God. Not S-O-N, but S-U-N. They like to twist things. Buddha was the walking incarnation of the sun. So was Krishna, the light of the world. Both metaphorical and literal. When he came here 2,000 years ago, Mary Magdalene was his twin flame, the incarnational aspect of Mother Earth. Horus and Hathor, Father, Son, Mother Earth. So many cultures have the same thing. But what do? They call Mary Magdalene a prostitute. How convenient. Why would they do that? Ask yourself, why would they do that? Why would she get put down like that? Who is she to be put down like that? Why are you taught to glorify the masculine, and why is the feminine called a prostitute? Because if you are a galactic cabal and you want to control a planetary population, what you must do first of all is control the energetic patterns and the essence of the consciousness of that planet. So if you want to control humanity here, control the feminine. You control the feminine, you control humanity. You suppress the feminine, you suppress humanity. Now you understand why the women of Islam wear the veil. Because the feminine is hidden behind the veil. I've seen through the veil. I've experienced life beyond the veil. When you travel into Avalon, like I have done, and I manifested a body there. Like I said, fifth dimension. It's the 5D realm on this planet. It's called Shambhala in other cultures. It's called Chula. It's called Valhalla. I'm not talking about Agartha. That's something different. That's an ET holographic reality inside this planet. That's something different. If you're not used to travelling in different realities, you go there, you're just going to think it's heaven. It'll be so wondrous. Because the foundational frequencies of that reality are designed to stimulate you. And I didn't like it, because I've already got the connection to the higher frequencies. And so when I went there, and I'll say, James Redfield, you're a legend, because he's the only one that I've ever seen anyone write about Shambhala, and he said predominantly the beings in Shambhala are feminine. And I thought, good man, he knows. People think he's just writing stories, but he knows. Because the fifth dimensional realm, Avalon, Shambhala, whatever you want to call it, is the realm of the mother, is a higher aspect of herself on this planet. And yes, the beings there are predominantly feminine. And I went there and I had meetings there, and everybody's preparing for the great change and the great shift that's going on here. And like I keep telling you, everyone else knows it's going on, and you're just being treated like mushrooms. It's all this I'm sharing with you, it's no news to anybody outside of this reality. And so Mary Magdalene and her 12 apostles, which gets largely left out, by the way, or shall we say her 12 high priestesses, right, which conveniently gets left out. It's a big story. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on it, but it's a big story. It'll really help you understand what's going on. Because our societies are Christian-based societies. Right? So I'm just going to stick with this for a while, because this is what the majority of you are conditioned to. If I stood up here and talked Vedas, you wouldn't get it. So I'm communicating this message to you through Christendom. Get it? Because we're programmed into Christendom. I'm christened Greek Orthodox. I'm not putting down anyone's religion. What I'm exploring and bringing into question is my religion. Do you get what I'm doing here? And I'm going to get right into it. Because there's things going on with my religion, which is very similar to yours, that is just, oh, you wait till you hear what I have to say. I'll go to this image. This one's a good one. Because that's not a man slaying the dragon there. That's a woman. And this is what is happening behind the scenes, by the way. Because you've got good and bad dragons, right? But there's a nasty group of dragons who are not very kind to Mother Earth at all. This is what's happening. This is where I did my talk in Barcelona. I didn't know. We're just walking into the foyer of the building, and this was just hanging on the wall. And I thought, I've got to take a photo of that. How appropriate. How appropriate. The timing was beautiful. It's a great tapestry, that. Because notice it's gold, right? Notice the colour, right? Because if you were to see a being showering you with golden light right now, what would you think? I'm telling you, don't ever judge a book by its cover. That cliche is more true now than it ever has been in your lives. Because there are beings that are coming here and they are going to play this charade on humanity like you wouldn't believe. It's already happening in all the secret societies and all the ruling elite groups behind the scenes. Who they're in contact with in their little secret rituals that they do would absolutely shock you. And they truly believe they are talking to Isis and to Horus and to Jesus and to Buddha. They truly believe that that's who they're communicating with, that these beings are manifesting in front of them. And it's a charade. So, let me just quickly go here because this is all part of it. If anything is going to be manifest in this reality, we have this universal symbol here. The circle and the cross, right? The Celtic cross, isn't it? Right, you've all seen that. Okay. The four basic energetic streams of manifesting anything: feminine energy, masculine energy, love, and knowledge. That's it. At the very top end of the universe, they're the four that make everything into existence. Everything. Four flavours of life. Your I am presence exists via that construct because you exist in the middle. In there, it's eternal, the intersection there. All right? And then when you start manifesting life in the seventh dimension, these principles come into play out there. So, you familiar with that? Interesting, eh? Celtic cross, medicine wheel. There's a theme emerging here that this symbol is actually used everywhere. It's actually used throughout the universe, in case it's a universal symbol. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It's a universal symbol. This next picture might surprise you. Bet you didn't know the Aborigines use it. How about that? It's very important for the Australian Aborigines. And look what this elder called it. The Mayan waterhole. How about that? The Mayan waterhole. The sacred waterhole of the Aborigines. What does that mean? It doesn't just mean a pond on their land. It's sacred for them. The moment you see waterhole, you go, okay, waters, the sacred waters, the baptismal waters. What does it mean? It means the ocean, the greater ocean of consciousness of life. Who did the baptizing, do you reckon? Who did the baptizing? This is where I'm leading to with all of this. Who did the baptizing? You heard a guy called John did it, don't you? So tell me, is that John sitting next to Jesus in the painting of Da Vinci? Is it? If you want to defend your belief system, you'll say, of course it is. Looks like a woman to me. I think Da Vinci was trying to say something. I didn't arrive at this through this process, right? I knew this, but I'm just sharing this process with you to get you to understand it. This planet is a woman. It is the divine feminine consciousness of this universe. So now tell me, who has the final say? Who grants people access to power here? When King Arthur wanted to retrieve the sword, which is knowledge and wisdom, by the way, and truth. That's what the sword represents. Because when you speak it, you ram it through lies and illusion, and it hurts. That's what the sword represents. Samurai, way of the sword of Troy, throughout every culture. Right? The female has the final say. He had to go to the Lady of the Lake to retrieve the sword. He had to get her permission to access the higher knowledge and the higher wisdom. Get used to the idea that you're on a woman's body, and not just any woman, the divine mother consciousness of this universe. No worship, merely understanding, acknowledgement, respect. That's it. Remembrance, let's throw that one in. Understanding your construct here. I know we're going to go for a break, but I'm just going to take this a bit further, if you don't mind. Is that okay? Yeah? Because I want to get into the sacrifice of Jesus. If Jesus was the walking incarnation of the Son, then what did his death mean? Because when I look at it from the point of view of he was beaten and he was the universal consciousness and he died to show us that he can die as a mortal man, right? Because I don't believe the church's version of events, right? In the fact that I know he was crucified, I know that much, because he was nailed to the cross, right? Wasn't he? He was nailed to the cross. Right? It's understanding what they're throwing in your face, ladies and gentlemen. He was nailed to the knowledge and the wisdom and the truth of life. Because when he died, that heralded the Dark Ages, didn't it? After that, people were being burned at the stake and tortured and raped and pillaged for knowing life outside the doctrine of the church. I really think what I'm telling you here. Really think about it. Understand the symbolisms they use. Why is that thing being used? Because it's the sword. It's knowledge. And that's what died when he died. And it heralded the Dark Ages and plunged this reality down. But that's not all. That's nowhere near all. Why was he crucified? Why did he die? What was his real sacrifice? He relinquished his authority over this domain. His authority as the husband to the wife of this planet. Now I'll get to the real sacrifice. Because anybody who's ever loved a woman, any man who's ever loved a woman, any man who's ever loved another man who has a feminine nature about them. Right? So any male aspect who's loving a female aspect. Let me just share this with you now. Because when he relinquished his authority over this domain, it heralded the Dark Ages. It was a man stepping back from his wife and in full view of his wife as the son, watching his wife getting marauded by dark energies. That is the true sacrifice. That is the ultimate sacrifice. Because the other version doesn't cut it for me. I wanted to know what really went on. That's big. That's as big as it gets. A man stepping back from his wife and allowing her to be marauded by others. That's big. And if you understand the consciousness of this planet, you understand the consciousness of the sun, and you understand what they have done for us. What they have done for us. She volunteered to be raped and plundered and pillaged and tortured for eons of time. And in this last end of this cycle, so intensely. And she knew her husband was going to step back and just let it happen. Both of them. Then you begin to understand what the real sacrifice is that's going here. Because you wouldn't have had these incarnational experiences. That environment that's here wouldn't have been created. They had to step back and allow this place to just plunge into this dark, infested reality. So you can come here, have the experiences you had, and do the final stages of reintegration into your soul. Now, symbolically, you can say they died for our sins. Metaphoric, symbolic interpretation of what I just shared with you in detail, in fact, in reality. That's big. Anyone who's in a relationship, would you step back from your partner and allow others to maraud them? But mostly a man stepping back from his woman. A male energy, in whatever embodiment it is, stepping back from a female energy. Whereas two women in a relationship or two men in a relationship. One's always more masculine, one's always more feminine. Right? So you know what I'm talking about. Any walk of life you're in. This is what we're talking about here. That's big. Please, I know I'm ending on a bit of a sour note, but it's not. Because when you understand their sacrifice, you understand just how important we all are, and you understand the magnitude of the love they have for us and what they have done for us here. The courage it took to do what they have done. This is the truth. This is what's hidden in the Vatican. This is what they don't want you to know. And I challenge any clergyman to take me on this subject. I lay the gauntlet down because truth is truth. And they will try and word things and do the intellectual steptoe and impose their paradigms. But if I'm going to drive that sword, they're going to hurt. And they're not going to like what I'm going to have to say to them. Because there's a whole lot more where that came from. And the Vatican is scared. They know I know. This piece of information going out means they now know that I know. Father, Son, Mother Earth, universal consciousnesses. And you know what? When the veil lifts, you're all going to know this. It's awesome. I love speaking the truth. It's so easy. Because it is. It's what is. It's the way things are. So now all of a sudden, I'm feeling the room. I'm feeling your consciousnesses. I'm feeling your energies. People freaking out a little bit here, but it's all right. Other people connecting with it. Other people got emotional because they're starting to reconnect with that truth. Okay? It's all right. Just allow yourselves to be. Other people think I'm nuts. It's good. It's healthy. That's the spice of life, the diversity of life. But reality will always be there. It'll never change. Never faltering. It's always there in the background if you want to play with layers of illusion above it. Go for it. Explore. Enjoy. But thank you for listening and have a really good break. And please contemplate what I've just shared with you this time around. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And may I just ask, if you're going to applaud, I actually request that the applaud doesn't go to me. Okay? This is going to sound weird, but if you're going to applaud, I want you to applaud in each and every one of yourselves, okay? Okay, at the end, okay? Maybe I'm being presumptuous here, but at the end, when it comes to the end, you applaud yourselves because you're all heroes here. All right? I just want you to know that. Thank you.